Just taking these bolts out of the top. I guess you call it cross member of the two alignment pins. They're look like about a 10 millimeter. So far I've seen a 10 millimeter and 8 millimeter used throughout this thing quite a bit. A little bit earlier I took the front bus bars off the top portion of the battery pack. Just sitting over here. Quite a neat design. Look like they're tin plated copper. Pretty thick layer of tin on there. And it looks like a mylar film or something on both sides that allows it to separate. I'll go ahead and take this off. Looks like there's a date code on the top that says, depending that's European or something like that, so it's either July 10th of 2010 or October 7th of 2010. So somewhere in there is a bunch of date codes in the 2010 range, so I'm pretty confident this, at least the harnesses and ancillary components were built in 2010. Not a lot of, might be a date code on the modules themselves, but I do not see one as of now. It's kind of cool, this wiring harness going to the thing says Renault Proto Parts. Drop that over here. What I'm going to try to do is get this top 16 modules out of here. And once I do that, I'm going to try to lift the rest of it out of the aluminum part with the engine hoist. We'll see where we get. It looks like a thermal sensor back here. And a couple of, yep, that's most definitely a thermocouple shoved in. Looks like close to the middle cell. Well, you got two middle cells. So. Eighth in from the right. It's unique. There's some serial numbers. There's some green and white labels on the end of these cells, and they alternate. One is 12,000B 1050F, and the next one is 12,300B 1050F, and then they alternate. So I wonder if they took them off two separate stacks when they loaded them, or who knows what, but we'll see here. goofy rigging on this thing to figure out getting on the top pack. Got the arm out as far as it'll go on the engine hoist, so still rated for 1,000 pounds. But back's a little bit awkward trying to get any form of lifting onto it. Don't have a forklift or a tractor with a bucket, but this works. We're supposed to get 6 inches of snow tonight. That'll be pretty cool. Seems to be no through holes or anything on here to get a strap through or onto, and some threaded bolts. I can probably back out and get a thing on, but we'll see. It looks like we're going to have to pull the lower threaded rods out to get the pack apart. Probably a 10 millimeter. Maybe an 8. It's an 8, but it's right behind this one bus bar I haven't removed yet. So I'm going to go grab an open end. I don't know if any of you got a set of these ratcheting wrenches here. You got a gear wrench brand. They're pretty good. They got really tight tolerance on them. Really tight ratchets too. Goal here is to got this apart. Pretty unique rod. That's got to be custom. So 18 inches long. Yeah, 23 inches long probably. Gonna definitely have to do the bolt, the threaded rod removal. It's not actually a full threaded rod. It's got about 4 inches of threads on the end of it. But we're going to do a full threaded rod removal for every other module below this because they've got them through a through hole in the aluminum plates. So there's a steel side rail. The top one sits outside, so should be good on that one. Just touch, light tap on there. It came right out. Move this harness touch out of the way on the back side. Out the second one comes. Still held together pretty good with the steel reinforcement straps on here. There's 4 end bolts too at each end. Those are 10 millimeter as well. But I don't want to take those loose until I get some form of lifting on here. Good place to set it down is always good too. I could try. I think I might give that a go. Try to tuck my 2 toe straps in behind these steel bars and try lifting with that. I don't have to make anything custom for it. One of these Milwaukee 12-volt lithium-ion drill driver, impact drivers, and I got a 3/8 adapter for the 1/4-inch hex, and it's pretty good at removing these bolts quickly. And if you don't already have a set, you need to get a set of these. It's a Craftsman I have. It's Torx, Allen, socket. They're not socket. Allen, Torx primarily, and it's a full set of metric and American. Looks like we have a T40. These big Allen or Torx heads here. Yeah, not too bad to get it out. Set them over here because they're going to have to go back in to put it back on. And it looks like an 8 millimeter. Gotta be careful. You don't want to be dropping steel on this thing. It's pretty touch safe. That's a good rule of thumb. Got some of these braided straps from Harbor Freight. They're pretty good. Thinking about just putting it through the center. Ish. Put this back on. almost prefer doing this with a shop crane because you got quite finessable control on it, as opposed to like a forklift or something like that. Don't need to be real tight, just need it to hold together. What I might actually do is run it up and down both sides and have one strap view it. I could probably loosen this up a little bit and get it balanced out if I need to, which I will, I'm sure. Lesson learned, don't tighten them all down right away. Don't drop bolts either. I did get a fairly good smell of electrolyte when I opened this lid. I'm not sure why. We'll figure it out. Do a capacity test on every single module in here. I think we got, what, 96 parallel series strings, 192 total cells. Hope that's not a bad sign. I'd really love to use this pack. This stuff is slotted too, so it seems to be moved back and forth not easily, but not horribly. Go ahead and bring it up just to get it to where the strap starts to come tight, and then I'll have to adjust to ensure the positioning of the strap so it's centered. Tell you what, I don't like it. We're going to use two straps. I don't like how they're going over the cells and pulling tight. You know, they're not exactly indestructible pieces of hardware. The reason they built this nuclear bomb-proof device around it. Careful with your fasteners. This hoist does go to 100 inches, so you shouldn't have to do anything real crazy with the straps. Just put one on both sides. Might not lift perfectly straight, but you just need it to come out. 150 pounds is a lot more manageable than what's close to, I think it's 550, 600 pounds right now. everything started first before you tighten them. Fun. It's in there. It ain't going anywhere. The trick is getting 4 of these loops of strap in here. That'll be interesting. Interesting, I don't even have that side tight, that strap's not pulling through real easily. Yeah, I know. Can't get all 4 in here. Once again, we're going tight on that strap. I'll go ahead and tighten down this side now because it's definitely tight. 10mm will get these bolts out of the end. It's a dead lithium battery, sounds like. So we need a 10mm open end now. It's not really super tight, I just gotta be careful putting force on it. That sucks. Stripped it. Let's go get a good pair of vice grips and get on there. Amazing to me that they're willing to run 400 volts almost on top of itself. got that out of the way. Maybe I can get something on there. Maybe. Just been putting these screws back in. I need to lose them. Not a real pair of vice grips. It will probably not work, but worth a try. Nope. E-torques to try. I doubt it'll work. an American size ago and see if I can beat it on. If not, on to the next idea. Well, that's on there. Well, so if you happen to strip out one of your 10 millimeters, I'd recommend taking this bus plate off. Then you won't strip it out in the first place. And you get it stripped out well enough. You know, you got to go through a couple of bolts just to do it, but I recommend putting an E14 on there. Getting it really stripped out. That's kind of weird. Looks like the threads on that are really galled up. You can beat a 3/8 onto it with a hammer, and it'll come right off. Now, the trick is getting the 3/8 out of the socket. That'll be the fun one. We'll get it out later. For now, we're focused on getting this out of here. That's unique. Dropped a 32nd of an inch.